In this video, I'll be sharing some tips on what to do when feeling unmotivated at work. It's Tobey from Training Business Pros. Thanks for joining me. I'm pretty sure you've gone through a period at your job, career, or even business where you find that you're completely unmotivated. It happens pretty much to everyone, so don't despair. You are not alone. But you are going to need to get out of it pretty quickly, and I've got 6 really powerful strategies to get you up and moving and motivated again. You're going to want to hear all 6, so stick around to the end because some of them may surprise you. Let's get started. All right, so if you're feeling unmotivated at work, there's probably several reasons for that. Not the least of which is maybe you don't want to be there in the first place. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do and maybe some questions that you can ask yourself in order to reinitialize and get remotivated and start getting back to the way things were, or maybe even better. All right, let's go through 6 really powerful strategies. Number 1, do you need a new challenge at your current work, or do you need a new challenge somewhere else? So that means maybe you're just going through a little bit of a funk at your particular employment situation, knowing full well that you're going to bounce out of it because you'll find yourself something new to do. Create a challenge for yourself. Now, of course, there are many things you could do on your own, but maybe not so much if you're working for somebody and they've got other designs for you. So maybe it's just temporary in that particular situation, but if you think to yourself, hey, how long has this been going on? How long have I been feeling this way? And if it's for an extended period of time, you may need something completely outside of your current situation, and that means finding a new job, a new career, or even a new business. The other thing is you might want to ask yourself, if you know that you can't change your current situation and you really don't want to, then are you in the best role? I often say in my business when I'm talking to my wife about our employees, sometimes we hire them and they're great, but we've got them in the wrong seat on the bus. We need to get them into a different seat, a different role, something that is more suited to their personality, whether they're a controller or analytic or supporter or even promoter type personalities. And sometimes it's not that easy to figure that out from the beginning, but you do over time. So what you try to do is you try to get them in the right role, because if you're in the role that makes the best sense for you, then you can find your own motivation in that role because you're enjoying it and you love to do it. And that's one of the highest forms of motivation, just the whole concept of enjoying and loving what you do. In fact, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, number 2, energy is everything. Therefore, motivation is energy. So you have to find a way to shift the energy of motivation. And that means moving your emotional set point from a very low energy to a high one. If you don't know the whole concept of emotional set points, I talk about that in some of my law attraction videos. You might want to check those out. But essentially, it means that you need to move up the scale of emotional intelligence. Grab on a higher level of energy. For example, if you're feeling bored, then you need to perhaps take on a challenge so you can start to feel excitement and energy. And therefore, as soon as you shift your energy, your motivation level will rise. The highest form of energy, by the way, is enthusiasm. And enthusiasm contains 2 parts. 1, you love what you do. And 2, you've created a really big goal for yourself. So those 2 things together create enthusiasm, and therefore you're intrinsically motivated to move forward. Okay, number 3, take on a project. And that project could literally be anything. I often have employees come to me and say, hey, I need to do this thing. I think it's really going to help. I'd love to take on the challenge. Can I do that? And therefore, they're going to do it. And they're not necessarily looking for a financial reward from that, although we have done that over the years. But sometimes just a job well done is the best reward you can have. And you're motivated to do it because, of course, it's a challenge. And we as humans love challenges. We love to do things even though there may not be some type of monetary reward in the end. On the other hand, if there is a monetary reward, for example, most of the projects that I take on all have monetary rewards above and beyond whatever salary I'm taking from my own company, because I own the company. So therefore, any profit extra that we do kind of is my reward. Now, there are other rewards as well, such as helping and employing others and helping families grow, those types of things. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with a little bit of extra money and even a lot extra. So whatever project you take on, again, if there's no monetary reward, hey, sometimes a job well done is the best reward. But if there is one, then that's one reason to get super motivated. So find a way to make that happen and you'll be better off for it. And number 4, if you can't change anything at work, then change your work. I mean, if you're in a position or a job or a role that there's absolutely no movement, either sideways or upward, or sometimes even downward, if there's no chance that anything is going to change, then it's very difficult to get motivated. And of course, if you want to feed your family and put food on the table and that's all you can do, then that's one thing. But that's not really what it is for most people. Of course, if you're watching this video and you don't agree with me, you'll probably find plenty of evidence in your reality to make that true. On the other hand, I find plenty of evidence in my reality to say, hey, there's always a choice. And as I create my own reality, more choices become available to me. And of course, the better you do, the more choices you will have. So again, if you can't change anything at work, maybe it's time to change your work. Okay, number 5, if you can't change your work and you can't change anything at work, then you're going to need to find some motivation outside of work. So that means taking on some type of challenge outside of work, such as maybe a new hobby. Might want to take up golf or join a team or become a volunteer or start a business on the side. That's one thing that I help a lot of people do, is start businesses on the side. And what I find is that a lot of the people that I mentor in my training business, that they start to take on new challenges outside of work, building a business, a small business in the beginning, of course. But as that business starts to grow and they start loving that definitely more than their job, because that's the reason why they started it in the first place, then they find their jobs much easier to handle, and they find motivation even at their current work because they know that there's eventually an end to it, because the business that they start will, of course, replace the income if they ever leave their job. And that's a way to find motivation. Start a business on a side. Now, you might say to yourself, you don't have the time and you don't have the resources, but those are just excuses, and we could have an excuse-a-thon all day long, but that's not going to change anything. What is going to change is that you need some advice and some help on how to actually do that. Many people have done it. I've seen people who are not super extremely intelligent go and create wonderful businesses and lives for themselves. So there's really no excuses. You have plenty of time if you're only working 8 hours a day to start 2-3 hours outside of business and start making something happen. Okay, let's go on to the last one, which is number 6. If none of the above work and you absolutely have to stay in your job for whatever reason, and there's nothing you can do there to change your situation or take on a new challenge or find something that you absolutely want to do or change your role, then what you need to do is get some R&R. Let's take some time off. Now, of course, you might not be able to do that. So then you're stuck in a rut and you're probably going to stay there for quite a while. But I find in most cases, people can schedule some time, at least if they've been in their jobs for a long time. So what you need to do is find someplace new to go and find someplace that has adventure, because adventure is motivation in and of itself. If you're going to go lie on a beach for a week, I suppose that's okay. But, that to me, that just doesn't sound like something that's very challenging. Now, it's nice to do for a couple of days, but while you're there, maybe take up golf, or maybe go scuba diving or snorkeling, or find water skiing, or do something that challenges yourself and get some R&R, because when you get back to work, you'll have a different perspective and a different view. Now, that one, obviously, seems kind of obvious. That's why I left it for last, because, you know, everybody needs a break. So thanks for your time. If you have any questions about this, or you want to maybe offer some suggestions on what you do to stay motivated at work, love to hear it. Please write it in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you in another video. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up. That'd be great. Thanks.